All right, we're doing the review video for chapter 5.4 all the way to chapter 5.6 on inequalities. The first question on your quiz is going to give you something, a compounded inequality already completed. Now you are going to be telling me what the compound inequality is. Now this one is an and because they're both meeting in the center. So you know that there's a variable that you're going to make up in the center, and you know that 7 is the beginning and 12 is the end. Okay? Now because this is an open circle, you know that it doesn't have a line underneath because it's not equal to. And you know that the numbers are greater than, so you know that x is greater than. Okay? So you know what? X is greater than 7, but x in this scenario is also less than 12. But it also is equal to 12. So this is the answer for this one. If it's an or question, you'll see them pointing in opposite directions. But you won't have to write like this. You'll just write this inequality, write or, and then write the other inequality. Okay? Should be simple. There's only one question on like that. I think it looks like this. I can't tell you exactly, but I think it does. Now, question 2 through 4, the rest of them, for the four questions, are like this. They're going to give you the compounded inequality or the other one that'll be or inequality. Okay? It can be like this and say or in the center or say and in the center. Or if it is a compound, I might give it to you like this as well. All right? Now what you're going to do is solve each inequality individually. So I'm going to solve this one first, which if it looks like this, you'd be answering this part first. Okay? So you're going to be going 4 is less than f plus 6. Remember, your goal is to leave the variable by itself. So I'm going to subtract 6 to both sides. Subtract 6, subtract 6. This comes out to negative 2 is less than f. And that's that part. Then you have to do the other part, which is this one over here. Or if you have it in this form, you're doing the entire center again, but with the other number on the other side. So we're doing f plus 6 is less than 5. We're going to subtract 6 from this side, subtract 6 from that side. F is less than negative 1. So we know that f is greater than negative 2, but less than negative 1. Okay, so it'll be negative 2 is greater than f, and f is less than negative 1. Now you can write it like that. Sometimes it'll be an or. That's okay. But in this one, 2 through 4, you have to graph it after you are done. So we'll do the first one over here, which is f is greater than negative 2. So we have negative 2 here, and we know that it's an open circle, and we know that it's going in this direction. Right? Then the other one is f is less than negative 1, so you have to go to negative 1, another open circle, but this time f is less than that, so it's going to the left. So they intersect. So then it looks like that. That is your complete answer. Sometimes they'll go like this, sometimes they'll go in opposite directions, sometimes one will run over the other one and it'll just look like a regular inequality in one direction. Okay? That's what's going on with these. You should have seen every type of example of this. Now, if you're still having an issue with this, I would go to Khan and Google what we're doing here, inequalities, try to get some examples to make sure you're practicing perfectly, okay? Because I don't want you practicing wrong and then coming to my quiz and going, I practice a lot. It's not the same thing. Now, these, 5 through 8, you are going to be doing these for 5 through 8, which is absolute value. Now, this is worst case scenario. All the other examples are going to be easier than this or as difficult. Nothing should be beyond what you are seeing on the board. These you're not graphing when you're done. You are simply just answering them. First, you treat this like normal. 5y minus 2 is less than or equal to 7. And then you solve this. You're going to be leaving the y by itself, or the variable. So you're adding 2. You're left with 5y is less than or equal to 9. Then you're going to divide by 5. Y is less than or equal to 4.5. And that's the first one. Okay? The second one, you're going to be doing the same work, and I ran out of space, so I'm going to erase it. If you want to see that, you can rewind. I'm going to do the same exact thing, but I'm going to leave this answer as with a negative on the outside, because this can come out to negative. 5y minus 2 can be a negative answer, but when I do the absolute value, it comes back to be positive. So this is an option to make 7. So this is less than or equal to 7. Now, To get rid of this negative sign so that I can solve it, I have to multiply everything by -1. If you multiply this by -1, the only thing that changes is this negative sign goes away. So nothing is going to change. Now, because you're multiplying by a negative number, the sign changes. And because you're multiplying by a negative number, this is going to become -7. So now you're going to add 2 here, and this is going to be 5y is greater than or equal to -5. Then you're going to divide by 5 on both sides, and you're going to get y is greater than or equal to -1. This is one answer. This is the other answer. When you have an absolute value section, you have a possibility of 2 answers. A positive version of it and a negative version of it. Okay? These are your possible answers. Now, over here, 9 through 12, you're going to be graphing inequalities on a graph, no longer on a number line, on an actual graph. So what we're going to be doing is changing everything into slope-intercept form, which means leaving y by itself. Okay? This is worst case scenario. In some scenarios, I will be giving you it in slope-intercept form from the get-go, and you have to do none of this math. You just have to graph it. Okay? But I wanted to give you worst case scenario so then you'd be prepared. So if you get this, you have to leave y by itself. So the first thing we're going to get rid of is that -6x. So we're going to add 6x to both sides. So if we add 6x to this side, it cancels. If we add 6x to this side, these cannot combine like terms, so they just stand next to each other. So we're left with 2y by itself. We have less than or equal to. Then the 6x I like to put in front because it makes it look like slope-intercept form. The -6 slides over, and we're left with a 2y here. How do we get rid of the two next to the y? We divide everything by 2. So that causes this to be y is less than or equal to 3x minus 3. Okay? Now some of the questions you're going to be given are given in this form, which is very easy. This is the y-intercept. This tells you where to start on the y line. So that says -3, so I start 1, 2, 3. I start right here. Okay, and from this dot, this number here tells you how to get to the next dot. Okay, so you're doing this slope right here, 3, is actually 3/1. This number controls up and down. If it's positive, it goes up. If it's negative, it goes down. This number controls going to the right. Okay, so because this is a positive 3, we're going up 3 from here. 1, 2, 3, and we're going over 1, which is right here. Okay, and that's it. Then we're going to graph it. Now, because it has this, it's a solid line. If it did not have that, if this was non-existent, the line would become a dotted line or a dashed line. Okay? And because it's less than, now we have to fill in the area of possible answers. Okay, so I'm going back to the way it looked before. The possible answers are any y that is less than this line. Y is control up and down, which means it has to be less, which means you are shading in everything underneath this. And that is it. You have 4 of those questions. Some of them are easier than others. This is the most difficult version that I can think of. And that's it. Good luck.